Hello YouTube, it's me again, back with another video and another noisy dog in the background. I'm sorry, there's nothing to be done for it. I wanted to finally introduce some of my own original characters, which are featured in my novel series, Blessed Curses. And the reason that I've never drawn them is because I've always been a little intimidated to. But I'm actually really proud of how they came out, so I hope you guys like them. I debated talking about the actual story and the world that they come from for this video, but I wanted to kind of focus instead on them as characters and introduce them before anything happens with the story. So, I have looked up a list of 35 questions. I only intend to do maybe 15 of them. And I figure if I interview both characters, I'll give you guys a pretty solid view of who they are, and hopefully I will get you to like them as much as I do. But we'll see about that now, shall we? So I figured to jump right into Marie's interview, which I wanted to start with. I will try to put little question bubbles in the top so you can read along with what question I'm doing. I am only going to do 13 questions just for the sake of time. So, without further ado, question 1. What is your idea of perfect happiness? For Marie, that would be living a life of adventure and excitement. She very much fears the concept of living a life without being on edge. She hates traditionalist ideals. She would hate to feel like an accessory in life. She wants to explore and experience new things, so her idea of perfect happiness would be a life full of the unknown. So yeah. Question number 2. What is your greatest fear? For Marie, I think her greatest fear would have to be dying without having done anything. Very much tied into that concept of being the accessory. She is afraid that she will be just the accessory to somebody else's plan. And that scares her a lot. She doesn't want to live her entire life in someone else's shadow, having done nothing for herself. Okay. Number 3. What is the trait you most deplore in yourself? This one's kind of a trick question because it answers itself. Her most deplorable trait is that she doesn't deplore any traits in herself. She very much believes that she is the most upright and correct person there is. She's very prideful and sort of blind to the validity of other people's opinions. So if someone disagrees with her, she thinks they're an idiot, basically. Which is a character flaw that she needs to work on throughout the series. Character development. Question 4. What is the trait you most deplore in others? So this one is kind of interesting, because it's a tie between dishonesty and sort of hyper-traditionalism. So she hates people who are dishonest or cowardly, people who are unwilling to do the right thing or who believe that they can evade doing the right thing with a clever lie. But she also kind of loathes the concept that just because something is this way and has been this way for a long time, that it cannot or should not change. She believes that just because there is a tradition that is said that it has been one way for so long, that even if there is such a tradition, things should still change. And she hates people who disagree with her on that. What do you consider the most overrated virtue? Definitely traditionalism. And sentimentality. She believes that putting too much weight in the past is overrated. So question 6, on what occasion do you lie? Now this one is kind of complicated because Marie doesn't lie. I don't know if you could hear the air quotes, but there were air quotes. She doesn't lie, she just sort of dances around the truth and avoids giving certain facts to paint the situation in an intentionally misleading way. Which I consider lying, but she does not. You see the issue. Which is something she does rather a lot, especially if it means, like, just getting out of trouble. Or avoiding disappointing someone. Question number 7. What do you most dislike about your appearance? Now, this one is a little complicated because she doesn't really care about her appearance. Marie is supposed to be rather beautiful. I don't know how well I accomplished that with this drawing. Bear with me. She's supposed to be beautiful. And it is in this way that a lot of people covet her. So in a way, what she most dislikes about her appearance is that it is pleasing. She hates it because she feels like people objectify her or quantify her life goal or her life's worth in her attractiveness. So she hates that she is attractive at all because she almost wishes people would see her just for her intellect, and would be able to overlook her appearance entirely. So in a way, what she most dislikes is that she is attractive. Question 8. When and where were you happiest? This is more of a when. She was happiest when she was a little girl, when she had the world at her fingertips and didn't understand that there was responsibility that came with that. That was sort of the happiest time in her life, when she was blissfully unaware that responsibility was a thing. Which talent would you most like to have? This one is kind of a funny question, because Marie, in her newest incarnation, Marie really struggles with drawing. She wants to be good at drawing, but she's not very good at drawing. Whereas her original character was sort of a Mary Sue, in that she was kind of good at everything, and she used to draw these amazingly poetic things, and I have changed that, because no. I'm sorry, Marie, you can't draw, just deal with it. Alright. Question 10. What do you consider your greatest achievement? Her own individuality. Definitely. 11. What do you regard as the lowest depth of misery? To be an object or a side character in someone else's epic. The depth of misery is when you mean less than the people around you. For her, at least. What is your most marked characteristic? The best way I can think to describe this is fire. Her internal fire. It's her stubbornness, her irrationality at times, her drive, her courage, her ferocity, her sass and sarcasm, all the things that make her sort of her, I guess. What do you most value in your friends? For Marie, the answer is pretty simple. Companionship. People that she can relate to, understand, and agree with. Or disagree with. Really, she does like to debate. She just also thinks that people who debate her are wrong. Not the greatest philosophy. Alright, so now that we've gone through Marie, I figure to stop and talk about Leon. I have designed his sword, by the way. I will link that video in the description. I really like how his sword came out, so I hope you like it too. So question number 1 for Leon. What is your idea of perfect happiness? For Leon, this would be making a difference. And that's not to mean the same thing as Marie. Marie wants to explore and cover the world and say that she was there and put her flag down. Leon just sort of wants people to be happy, and he wants to help people be happy and healthy and successful. Seeing as he is the crown prince, and Marie is the daughter of the king's advisor, they're very close, but in this way they differ. Leon wants to help his people, whereas Marie wants to help serve her own legacy. Both are pretty valid, though. Gotta give them that. Number 2, what is your greatest fear? Leon's greatest fear is best personified by a scene that happens in his first chapter in the story. He's walking down the hallway at night through the castle, and he sees portraits of his ancestors, from his great-great-great-grandfather who took the throne, to his father, to himself. And his greatest fear is that as he's passing these portraits, if they could see him now, would they be disappointed in who he has become? So his greatest fear is that he will be nothing in comparison to his ancestors, and that they would be disappointed if they understood where their family line had ended up. Number 3, what is the trait you most deplore in yourself? He most deplores his own cowardice and his own inability to stand up and make a difference. It kind of ties in with the later question, what talent would you most like to have? And that would be leadership. He doesn't like that he is not currently a leader, and that he is not courageous enough to stand up and take his authority for himself. People listen to him because he's the prince, but he doesn't feel as though he has earned it, and he doesn't like that. Number 4, what is the trait you most deplore in others? Irrationality, which makes his close friendship with Marie kind of hilarious. If they had met as adults, they would not be able to stand each other, but because they knew each other growing up, they have this solid foundation of love between one another that helps them overcome this difference. What do you consider the most overrated virtue? For Leon, it would probably be pride. He believes that to be prideful is pointless. He has yet to understand that pride has a time and a place. On what occasion do you lie? He doesn't. Leon will only lie if it means saving someone's life. He's a very honest and straightforward person who means what he says when he says it. Number 7, what do you most dislike about your appearance? Really his only dislike is that he has lighter hair. It's similar in shade to his father's, but he still doesn't like it. He feels like it washes him out. Pretty simple. Nothing huge about it. When and where were you happiest? When he was young. Where being when he was hanging out with his younger sister Hannah and his childhood best friend Marie. Which talent would you most like to have? I kind of already answered, and that would be leadership. Question 10. What do you consider your greatest achievement? Learning how to wield a sword. Now, this is something he's been training to do since he can remember, really. Since he was old enough to wield a wooden sword, he's been learning how to use it. And it is in this way that he feels this skill is something he's earned and something that he has a right to be proud of. So it's really his greatest achievement for himself. It's the only time he feels powerful. What do you regard as the lowest depth of misery? Really, the lowest depth of misery would be to be without purpose. To be without a people to govern, a family to love, a reason to push on. For him, and for I think a lot of people, that would be the depth of lowest misery. What is your most marked characteristic? I think for Leon, this would have to be his courage. He's cowardly when it comes to owning his power, but when it comes to standing in the way of any evil between himself and the greater good, he will do it without hesitation, without even blinking. He will put himself in harm's way to save everyone he loves, or even people he doesn't really know, just on the principle of good must outweigh evil. What do you most value in your friends? Compassion. I think the sort of understanding that comes with being close to someone. That is what he enjoys most. So I'm pretty sure the speed paint is about to be over, so I hope you guys enjoyed watching me draw these characters for the first time, and I hope you liked their little interviews and that it gave you a good impression of who these people are, and just really have a good morning, evening, afternoon, nighttime time of day, and I will catch you guys on the flip side.